Someone you talk to regularly is using a psychological tactic on you right now, and you won't catch it in the moment. That is exactly the point. These aren't obvious insults or screaming matches. They're hidden, strategic patterns. Today, we're breaking down 7 specific manipulation tactics that psychologists seek constantly. We're going to look at what they look like in real conversations, why they work on smart people, and the exact response that shuts each one down. Let's get right into it.
Here's what we're covering in today's explainer. 1. The unseen psychological trap. 2. Distorting your literal reality. 3. The emotional whiplash effect. 4. Playing unwinnable games. And 5. Reclaiming your personal power. Stick around because tactic number 4 is the one almost nobody recognizes until it's already worked on them.
All right, Section 1. The unseen psychological trap.
So, are you being manipulated right now? It's kind of a heavy question, right? But what I really want to stress is that if the answer is yes, it has absolutely nothing to do with your intelligence. Smart, highly self-aware people fall for these traps constantly. Why? Because these tactics are explicitly designed to bypass your immediate awareness. They don't attack your intellect, they hack your psychology.
You know, the fact that you won't catch it in the moment isn't a failure on your part. It's the exact design of the tactic. If it were obvious, it just wouldn't work. This is why we have to learn the patterns. Because once you can visualize the pattern and name it in your head, you honestly can't unsee it in your life.
Moving on to Section 2. Distorting your literal reality.
This brings us to gaslighting. This is when someone literally rewrites reality in real time. You bring up something that hurt you, and instead of addressing it, they tell you it simply didn't happen, or that you're remembering it wrong, or maybe that you're just being too sensitive. The goal isn't to win the argument, it's to make you distrust your own memory. So the next time a conflict arises, you hesitate before trusting yourself at all.
So, what's the tell here?
Well, you usually leave conversations way more confused than when you started, often apologizing for things you're still not sure you actually did. To counter it, you have to stop debating the facts in the moment. Just say, "I know what I experienced," and end it right there. You absolutely do not owe anyone a debate about your own memory.
Okay, here's the one I warned you about earlier, because it is by far the hardest to catch. It's called DARVO, which stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse Victim, and Offender. It's incredibly disorienting. Here's how it plays out. You calmly bring up a concern. First, they deny it happened. Second, they attack you for even bringing it up. And third, they reverse the roles completely. By the end of it, they flip the script so fast that you are the one defending yourself. The tell with DARVO is when you realize you came in with a valid concern, but you are leaving comforting the person who actually caused the problem. It is a complete psychological flip. To counter this, you need to pause and firmly name it out loud. Just state, "We're talking about what you did, not what I did." You have to redirect them back to reality every single time. Okay, on to Section 3, the emotional whiplash effect. While those previous tactics attacked your reality, these next ones weaponize affection, silence, and guilt. Take love bombing, for instance. Early on, like day 1 through week 2, it feels incredible. Constant attention, moving super fast. That intense pace builds a massive bond before you've even had time to see who they actually are. But look at month 1, sudden withdrawal. The intensity just vanishes, and you end up spending the rest of the relationship desperately chasing that perfect version of them from week 1, not realizing it was a strategy the whole time. The tell for love bombing is all about the pace. It just feels way too fast, and any hesitation from you gets treated like a cruel rejection. The counter is totally in your control, though. Match only the pace you are comfortable with, not the dizzying pace they're setting. A genuine connection will easily survive you slowing things down. Next up in the whiplash category is the silent treatment. And to be clear, this is not a normal need for space. This is silence used specifically as punishment. The tell is incredibly revealing. The silence magically lifts the exact moment you cave and apologize. The counter? Don't chase it. Just calmly say, "I'm here when you're ready to talk," and go live your life. Withholding communication stops being a weapon the absolute second it stops getting a reaction from you. And that brings us to guilt tripping, which is making their emotions your responsibility. You set a boundary, and suddenly you're the bad guy for simply taking care of yourself. But there is a brilliant defense against this. Just say, "I understand you're upset, and my answer is still no." That perfectly illustrates that you can care deeply about someone's feelings without taking on the responsibility of managing them.
All right, Section 4, playing unwinnable games.
This category is incredibly frustrating because the manipulator constantly shifts the structural rules of the relationship so you can never win. We see this in moving the goalposts. You work hard to meet an expectation, and instead of approval, a brand new one just appears out of nowhere. The tell is that exhausting feeling of always being one step behind. But here's the secret. Enough was never the actual goal. Keeping you reaching is the goal. To counter this trap, demand the specific, complete expectation right up front.
Our final tactic is triangulation. This is the act of pulling a third person, like an ex, a friend, or a coworker, into a private conflict. The manipulator uses this third party to make you feel jealous, insecure, or outnumbered. Suddenly, a simple one-on-one disagreement is unfairly turned into a 2-against-1 scenario.
The tell for triangulation is bizarre, but so obvious once you know it. Your arguments somehow constantly involve people who aren't even in the room. To instantly neutralize this, keep it simple. Say, "This is between us." You are essentially refusing to play the multiplayer game they just tried to launch.
Finally, Section 5, Reclaiming Your Personal Power.
So what's the pattern behind it all? As we've seen in this explainer, manipulation is rarely loud or obvious. It completely relies on making you doubt what you already know to be true. But here is the massive silver lining. Naming the tactic instantly strips its power. The moment you can look at a situation and say, "Hey, that's DARVO," it just loses its grip on you. That is exactly how human psychology works. If you recognize someone's behavior in today's explainer, I want to validate you right now. You are not overreacting. You are paying attention.
So I'll leave you with this question. If you recognized someone's behavior today, what boundary will you set next? Knowledge is only power if you actually use it to protect your peace. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If this helped you spot something in your own life, I invite you to explore more of our explainers where we continue to decode the complex patterns of human behavior. Trust your reality, and I'll catch you in the next one.